Today we'll be doing log analysis where we'll try to find out false positives and true positives. So let's get started. So while working in SOC, you'll have to find out the true positives and false positives and separate them and work on true positives and ignore false positives. Okay, so the important part is making a decision. So while it is confusing to differentiate between true positives and false positives, it is very crucial to get it right. If a true positive is falsely classified as false positive, it can lead to a significant impact from missed cyber attack. If a false positive is falsely classified as true positive, precious time will be spent on focusing on false positive, which might lead to less focus on the actual attack. So, how exactly do we ensure that we perform this crucial job effectively? We can use below pointers to guide us. So you can read this later, but right now let's jump in directly to the lab. So this one is important for the lab. So similar to every SOC, the analysts in the wearable SOC also need to differentiate between true positives and false positives. This becomes especially difficult for the near Christmas when the analysts face alert fatigue. High chances of misclassification of true positives and false positives and vice versa are present in such times. The analysts therefore appreciate any help they could get from us in this crucial time. To make matters worse, the office of the mayor has sent the analyst an alert informing them of multiple encoded PowerShell commands that run on their systems. Perhaps we can help with that. So first of all, connection details. So first of all, let's click on the start machine and also let's connect to our VPN. So I'm not using an attack box. I will be using a VPN. So I want to run directly from my own Kali machine. So what I do is I open a terminal in that downloads folder where I have already downloaded VPN file. Okay, so sudo open VPN TORHAT open VPN, and that should connect us to the server. Okay, so initialization sequence completed, which means we have connected to their network. Okay, so to check that, you can also check if config, and you should see a ton0 that has an IP address related to TORHAT VPN server. So once it is connected, here we have an IP address that is automatically updated. So we can just right click and open it in new tab, or we can just paste this IP address 10.10.55.102. So it says bad gateway, which means it's not yet loaded completely. So here they say the instance takes 5 minutes to initialize and for the Elastic login page to appear. So we just have to wait for a few minutes. In the meanwhile, let's check with the IP address 10.10.102. Okay, it says Kibana server is not ready. So we just need few more seconds. So it's done. So it's loading Elastic. I hope you can see this, right? By default, Elastic uses the username and password as Elastic. So Elastic is basically a CM software, SIEM. SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management. So basically whatever events that are happening in a company or a website, okay, every event is logged. To understand this better, you can imagine a client and a server relation. So here we have a client, and let's say here we have server. I just call it as web server. So basically a website. So whenever any client, so we can say any client that is trying to interact with the web server, all those interactions are recorded. So this is basically called as logging. All these logs which are there are recorded and saved inside the server, and this software can pick up all such logs and we can analyze those logs right here. Okay, so click on this hamburger menu and click on this discover. So currently we're not seeing any matches. So in the last 15 minutes, there are no events or there are no interactions with the website. Okay, So what you can do is you can change these timings to certain time, like for example December 1st till now. Okay, so let's update and still nothing. So let's go a few more days back, something like November 28th. So we have some interactions over here, right? Let's go back to the lab and see what we have to do. First of all, they have set some time range, so we can also do that. And we also see something like 21 events. Okay, so let's check that really quickly. So all they did is December 1st 0 to December 1st 11:30 p.m. So click on update and you should see 21 hits. They are checking from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. You can also do that, but let's see what's important here. Since we are looking for events related to PowerShell, we would like to know the following details about the logs. So basically in the question they asked that there are some PowerShell commands that are run on their systems. So we can just filter out that, but first of all, let's set the timings to 9:30, 9 to 9:30 a.m. So we have 21 hits right here. So if you scroll down, you can see all these logs right here. So you have timestamp, you have agents, you have agent ID, agent name, all this agent version, event action, event category, all these things. You can expand this to know more about these things. Okay, you can just scroll down and see what, and here you can see actual command that is being run. Okay, it's a PowerShell command. There is an encoded command right here. So to filter out these things in a readable format, so what you can do is you have these fields right here. So you can say something like host.hostname, and here you have this thing. Click on this plus icon and that should pop up a new field right here. So I'm just closing this and I'm zooming out a little bit. So now it's more readable, right? Now let's add some more filtering here. So let's add something like user.name and let's see which user is trying to interact with it. Okay, it's service admin. Next, let's try to see which category of that event is. Okay, for example, if it is a process or something else. So event.category. So we have process authentication, right? So it just keeps on alternating this thing. So it's like someone is trying to authenticate in where host 10 and try to run some process. So let's see if they have succeeded it or not. So to check that, all we have to do is event.outcome. Okay, this will show if they have succeeded in executing or not. Looks like they have. So let's see what commands they have run. So you can say process dot command line. Okay, here we have it. Just click on this and here we have that particular process that is being run. So I'll just zoom out a little bit. So you can also move these columns to the left if you want. Here we understand that this service admin is trying to authenticate and run a process. Let's see one more thing. Let's see which IP that is. So you can say source.ip. Okay, just click on this. Here we have source IP as well. I'm just going to minimize this. So now I can see this better. So let's see which IP that is. It is 10.0.11.11. Okay, it just keeps showing 11.11. And also let's see what command it's actually trying to run. Okay, since it is encoded, so basically encoding happens in base 64. By default, if we use encoded command, then we are basically using base 64 right here. So to check the decoded version of base 64, you can go to CyberChef and drag and drop from base 64. So if I paste it here, so it's trying to say install Windows Update, accept all, auto reboot. there are some special characters in between, right? So if I want to remove those, I have to decode that text as well. Okay, I have to say decode text. So if I use this, if you're using something like this, you might also have to use UTF-16LE 1200. So here you can see the command that it's actually running. So install Windows Update accept all. These updates might also have some new virus definitions. So what it's actually doing is it's actually trying to protect us from executing some new virus signatures. So let's increase this timing. So they have given certain time in which we need to check. So if I scroll down, okay, so here we have 29th November and 1st December. So let's try to filter out between these two dates. So 29th November is right here. So I'm going to set it to 0 as well. And December 1st, let's try to click on 11:30, let's say. Okay, so let's click on update and let's see how many we have. Okay, we have 8,324 hits. So finally we have all of these things. So we know that one of these IP address is this. So let's copy that and let's save it in our notes. So this is one IP address. Let's see if there are any more IP addresses that are there. So if I click on this minus symbol, it will just filter out value, or else you can also add filter right here. Okay, for example, if I say source.ip and is not this value. Okay, so I can do this, or I can just click on minus symbol over here. Okay, both are same. So if I want to add this filter, if I have to just see only this IP address, I have to say is this IP address. Okay, is that clear? So I click on save and that should reduce these things. Okay, so we don't also want null source IPs. Okay, so I'm just going to filter out this as well. So now we have a new IP address. Paste this as well. Let's see what this source IP is trying to do. So here you can see that this is also trying to authenticate, but this time we are getting a failure. And finally there is one success. If I scroll down, I can see that there are a ton of failures right here. So basically all authentications have been failed. So it's trying to do some kind of brute force attack. And finally it was able to succeed with one of the username and passwords. So as you can see, based on these hits, there's only one candle right here. Okay, so I can directly click on this to filter out only this candle. Okay, so that's a shortcut that we'll be using in the next video. So as of now, just remember here we have two IP addresses. One is always trying to get a success, right? So they know the username and password and they know what they're doing. So it has to be someone that knows the username and password, something like some administrator or something. Okay, someone who has control or owner, I could say. And here we have someone trying to brute force. This one can be someone who doesn't know the username and password. So as we know from our story, this could be someone like Mayor Malware who is trying to log in and always getting a success. And brute force, so this can be glitch. Okay, because he doesn't know the username and password. So after so many tries, he got one success and from that he got complete access as admin. Once you identify which user is doing what, then you can try to understand what to do next. Okay, so let's see. So villain or hero. Miss Kitty further analyzed the secret hero who came to startling revelation. The credentials for the script in the machines that ran Windows updates was outdated. Someone brute forced the system and fixed the credentials after successfully logging in. This was evident from the fact that executed PowerShell command was preceded by a successful login from the source IP. causing failed logins over the past few days. And what's even more startling, it was Glitch who accessed ADM01 and fixed the credentials after Mixkitty confirmed who owned the IP address. What did Glitch do? Glitch tried to access this and try to fix the credentials, and also realized that Windows Update was outdated, so he fixed that as well. Let's see the questions. What is the name of the account causing all the failed login attempts? This was the name of the account, right? So username is this one. So service underscore admin. So let's paste it here. Submit. How many failed login attempts was observed? So failed login attempts. To check this, let's remove all these things. So failed login attempts. So first of all, and we're trying to do the authentication part, right? So click on this one, and we're also looking for the failed attempts. So you have to scroll down and click on failure. So looks like the time has went to October 29. So you need to check this as November 29. Let's click on update. Okay, so now we have 6791. Okay, so these many hits between these time intervals and authentication has been failed. So failed login attempts is 6791. So 6791. Let's submit. Okay, done. So what is the IP address of the glitch? So we have saved it already. So this is the IP address of the glitch. You can also check it right here. If you scroll down, this is the IP address. Okay, so paste it right here and submit. When did glitch successfully log in to ADM01? Give me the format like this. So go back here, click on this, and here we can see ADM0 failed login attempts. So you can actually remove this so that we can only see the IP address of glitch. Okay, so here there was success and successful login at this time. Okay, so just copy this, go back here, and this is not the correct format, so we need to just change the format to match. So I hope this is the right one. MMMDYYYY and hours, minutes, and this thing. So looks like it is matching. So let's click on submit. Okay, done. So what is the decoded command executed by glitch to fix the system software well? So this was the command, right? So copy this, go back here, click on this, paste. Okay, submit, and that should solve the basic log analysis. Okay, so if you enjoyed this task, feel free to check out investigating with ELK. Okay, we'll check out this room later. So let's finish off with this. All right, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.